We're just going to take a couple seconds and wait for the stream to be set up before we officially start the workshop. Awesome, so we're good to go. So here we have Mark from Quixotic, who's going to be doing his workshop on building composable NFT on Optimism Layer 2. So we're really excited to have him here at BuildQuest. And with that being said, I'll hand the mic off to you, Mark.
Great, thanks, Anna. Hey, everyone, thanks for joining. I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing a little bit about like what are composable NFTs, what's Optimism, and what's Quixotic. So Quixotic is the largest NFT marketplace on Optimism. We launched in December 2021, about 10 weeks ago, and we've done almost 200 ETH in volume, and trading NFTs on Quixotic is about $1. So much cheaper than OpenSea. And a little bit later, I'll show you what the platform looks like. But first I want to get into like what are composable NFTs and why would you use them? And then for a little background on me, I'm one of the co-founders of Quixotic. So composable NFTs are really just any NFTs that interact with each other. This is actually something that was very popular when NFTs were first being explored as a concept. So some past examples of composable NFTs are CryptoKitties, where you can breed two CryptoKitties to produce a kitten NFT. Zed Run is another popular composable NFT game where you can race horses and the horses can also breed, and those horses are NFTs. Dope Wars is a play-to-earn game on Quixotic, which is our marketplace, and you can have like a hustler, which is like a character, and that person can equip gear and use that. And then Loot was a popular NFT project that came out last year, and that was deliberately completely open-ended, so anyone can do anything they want with the loot. Other like future ideas, for example, for composable NFTs is that you can like assign adventures stats in loot. You could have like a robot fighting game, maybe magical elements could be combined to create a potion. The point is like most NFTs today follow the ERC 721 standard, and that's a really open-ended standard. So you can actually do tons of things. There's a huge design space there. So the question is, why aren't people doing all these things with the big design space available? And the answer to that is that high gas fees on layer 1 Ethereum mean that any feature that's not trading your NFTs is basically not going to be used. So that's kind of sad for builders because it closes off the design space. So if we look beyond layer 1 Ethereum, that design space opens up again. So right, like with something like Optimism, you get security and low cost, so much lower fees. So anything you do on chain is probably 100 times cheaper than layer 1 Ethereum. So why choose Optimism or layer 2s in general? So you can choose to put NFTs on other layer 1s, other blockchains. So another layer 1, it runs its own consensus mechanism and therefore doesn't have the security of layer 1 Ethereum. It might or might not run the EVM, and most developers like at ETHGlobal probably are familiar with the EVM and the Solidity smart contract language. They usually do have general purpose smart contracts. Examples of layer 1s include Solana, Tezos, BSC. You could do a sidechain like Polygon, which is very similar to layer 1 Ethereum, except it has its own consensus mechanism. And so any NFTs you make are secured on the Polygon network, which is less secure than layer 1 Ethereum. Layer 2s are secured by layer 1 Ethereum. So transactions all eventually get compressed and posted to layer 1 Ethereum. Some of them have general purpose smart contracts, some of them don't. Some run the EVM, some don't. Optimism, so let's talk about Optimism. Optimism is EVM equivalent and uses the exact same ecosystem and tools as layer 1. So like when I'm developing smart contracts, I use Hard Hat. I use Alchemy for my web services. I only actually know how to write Solidity code. I don't know how to write smart contracts in other languages. I use Etherscan, I use MetaMask, I use Remix. So all these tools work really well with Optimism. When we built our marketplace, we used many of these tools. So I'm going to quickly run through an example of like how you would make your own composable NFT collection. This one's called the Potioneers. This was an idea that I just came up with, but totally feel free to just completely steal it and implement it yourself as part of the hackathon. So what if we had an ERC 721 collection of Potioneers that could be used as profile pictures? So like this character here would be a Potioneer. And the Potioneers can collect potion supplies, brew their own potions, consume the potions to change their physical appearance and attributes. So the supplies, maybe that's an ERC 1155 collection, and the potions can also be a 721 collection. The main difference between 721s and 1155s, these are standards that you would use to make NFTs. So like sort of by definition, an NFT is something that follows the ERC 721 standard or 1155 standard in Ethereum world anyway. And Solana and other blockchains, they have their own standards for what an NFT is. But an 1155 collection, it has multi-quantity NFTs. So you'll see why that's useful for potion supplies. 721s are all completely unique. So that's why it's good for like a profile picture. I see we have a question in the chat. So Marcus says, is 1155s more towards consumable NFTs then? Yeah, that you might do that. I think a big use case of 1155s is that they're better for games. So in a lot of games, you might have just resources. Like not every single item in a video game tends to be unique. Like usually there are multiple quantities of video game items. And yeah, if you have questions, feel free to just drop them in the Zoom chat here. So here's my smart contracts. So I'm going to do a quick explainer of the smart contracts. And then after this workshop is over, in our Discord channel for the hackathon, I'll share a GitHub repo that shows you my smart contracts, and you can use that as inspiration for your own. So here's the potion supplies contract. I'm using the Open Zeppelin libraries. Open Zeppelin is just a really popular set of libraries for creating NFT smart contracts. So I have some potion supplies here. And I just have 3 NFTs in this collection. It's gold, obsidian, and feldspar, which are all rocks that an alchemist might use. And I'm just going to say, like, we're going to mint 2,000 gold, 800 obsidian, and 4,000 feldspar. And then here's my potioneer. So I'm just going to highlight a couple things about this potioneer smart contract. This is a 721 contract, but I'm also inheriting ERC 1155 holder and ownable, which means this potioneer can hold 1155s. Okay. And to support that, I have implemented this on ERC 1155 received. So when someone sends a potioneer some supplies, we're gonna keep track using like a mapping of the supply amounts for a potioneer. So you can send to potioneer 12, for example, like some gold. And then we're keeping track of all of that in this function. So we have to implement this function to be able to hold ERC 1155s. Okay, cool. And now here I'm going to implement a function called brew potion of strength. So if I have 10 gold, 5 obsidian, and 15 feldspar, then I can call this function. when you're writing a smart contract, a pattern you often want to follow is called checks, effects, and interactions. So I'm checking that I have the required resources. I am removing those resources. There's kind of a typo right there. I'm removing these resources from my inventory, basically. And then I just collapsed it down so you could see more. And now I'm burning the ingredients. So I'm actually sending those ingredients to the burn address. And then I'm minting a potion. Great. So that is the example of Potioneers. I didn't go as in depth as I could just because I don't want to get too into the technical weeds, but there will be a GitHub repo that you can look at later. And you can imagine maybe the potion changes the color of someone's hair or makes them look stronger or something. That would be pretty fun. And you can imagine there'd be like a market for potion supplies. And what's interesting is like you could sell your entire potioneer and that potioneer can have supplies in their inventory. So, this is all very fun, and anything that conforms to either of these standards can appear on the Quixotic marketplace. So that's pretty cool too. And so I'll give some examples on Quixotic. This collection is called Old English. You can drink the bottle and you get some buzz token, which is an ERC20. When you drink the whole bottle, it's empty. So like every time someone calls the drink function, it gets emptied. And then you can send the bottle back to where you got it from and you get some ETH back for recycling it. So that's kind of fun. You can also imagine how much more fun this is on a layer 2, because like drinking the gas fee is like $1 to call the drink function versus on L1 Ethereum, it would be like, $60. Pegapals is another one that's pretty fun and uses a composable NFT. So Pegapals give you membership to this like DAO basically that does DeFi stuff. You can level up your Pegapal with Pega tokens. So if you get 100 Pega tokens, you can put them inside your Pegapal and level up your Pegapal. I see another question. What about potion recipes? A recipe NFT which contains the needed ingredients if you have them in the potion. That also would be great. Yeah, you could. That's kind of interesting to make the recipe itself an NFT, because the recipe does need to be sort of programmable. So you noticed like for this potion of strength, the ingredient, I basically hard coded the ingredients here that you need. So it might be a little more advanced to have the recipe be an NFT, because you're going to need to like write like a function that combines them. But you could definitely give it a try. So that would be possible. Cool. And then here's just some tips we've seen for how to launch a really successful NFT project. For most projects, they're as much about community building as they are about the art. So for some NFTs, they really are about the art. For a lot of the projects on our platform, it's a lot about community building. So really think about how you're going to build a good community around your project in addition to the art. Most successful projects on our platform have a very low or free mint price. So Optipunks was very successful. They minted for 0.005 ETH. That's only like $20. That's also kind of only possible in layer 2 because gas to mint is only $1. So you wouldn't want to do that on L1 because, it's like $60 to mint for like a $20 thing. That doesn't make sense. Dope Wars was free to mint. Collections with, just a novel concept, unique art, or interesting utility do the best. Animal profile projects, a lot of those have been done already. And then I'd say try joining a few NFT communities yourself to see what works best, and maybe even try contributing to those communities before launching your own project. And that'll just help set you up for success. Now, for this particular hackathon for BuildQuest, we're sponsoring a $4,000 prize pool. So any team that deploys a project on the Optimistic Coven testnet that uses some of these composable NFTs, we're going to split the $4,000 among all of you. So I'll just quickly show you the platform now. So this is Quixotic. It's just quixotic.io. You can just Google Optimism NFT Marketplace if that's hard to spell. And so here's like Dope Wars. Can you all see the platform as I'm sharing it? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Great. So here's the Dope Wars hustlers. This hustler, for example, is naked. So if you want, you would need to get them some gear, and you can find the gear here. So I could buy a hustler, and then I could get a bronze chain or a hat from Chinatown. Great. Or if I don't want to, like I could buy a hustler with gear already. So like you see, like this guy Brick already has like a bunch of gear, and he's more expensive, which makes sense because when we buy him, we're also buying all the gear that he has. So that's a good example of a composable NFT. Here's the Old English. So this is just kind of a funny collection. It's just a bunch of bottles. These were also very free, like very cheap, or maybe even free to mint. And now, like you've seen, it's kind of expensive to buy one. But if you buy one, then you can go to the website, the Old English website, and then drink it, and then you get the buzz token. So what we're trying to do is just a marketplace for the Optimism NFT spaces. We're trying to create like really fun, high quality projects that are only available on layer 2. If you do deploy to the testnet during this hackathon, you can just go to testnet.quixotic.io, and you'll be able to see this is connected to the Optimism testnet called Optimistic COVID. And during the hackathon, you can, deploy your smart contracts, and we'll pull them in here. If you want to deploy your smart contract on our testnet, just message us in the Discord channel for we are Quixotic in the Discord. Great. So now I'll open it up to any questions from the audience about Optimism, about NFT games, or about our marketplace in particular. Yeah. And
feel free to come off of mute too if you want to ask your question live.
Sagar says, which are product ideas looking over Optimism, or which are Ethereum or Polygon, but not in Optimism? That's a good question. So Optimism is still very new. It's like been available for anyone to deploy on, they like remove their whitelist in December. So there's been we only have like 37 collections on our marketplace, which is like really small compared to Polygon or L1 Ethereum. So if you are building on Optimism, chances are it's like a pretty unique, like you might be one of the first people doing that. And it's interesting because Polygon, it'll cost about like 2 cents to mint on the Polygon network. And it'll cost about like $1 to mint on Optimism. So it's like quite a bit more expensive, but that also does result in like a lot less spam. So that's an interesting like advantage of building on Optimism, is like we have a dedicated, like our marketplace only supports Optimism. We're dedicated to Optimism. If you are minting a project on Polygon, for example, you'll probably be trading that on OpenSea, where like your Polygon project will sort of be probably among like some spam, and Polygon is sort of treated like a second-class citizen on OpenSea, which makes sense because most activity is on Ethereum. Yeah. Great.
Hello. Hello. I'm audible.
Hi.
Hi. Sagar this side. So nice presentation actually. So actually I am following Optimism last like 3-4 years actually, when the first talk is happen on that time actually. So yeah, means I'm looking forward what is the process, developer onboard process, and how actively working to in the future for the onboarding developer and grant program which Optimism have, and on the future plans after the hackathons and all.
By developer onboarding process, do you mean like how do you start using the Optimism network, or like what's the plan for building a strong ecosystem?
Yeah, means I'm in the space quite long time, and so I want to go like build the product like on 2-3 products which I have in the mind, and creating the roadmap of that with the team. So means I want to onboard a new project on the Optimism. So how the supporting the grant and other parts like the team support, or like on the other support to the community to build the new projects over the rather than the like a famous project like a Uniswap and all. It is, I know that it is coming on Optimism because it is on Ethereum, but any new projects which come up from the hackathons or something like, so apart from the winning prize, how the next level if we want to take the projects on the Optimism, if we are building something, so how the Optimism team or something which we can have help out the developers on the way.
Yeah, for sure. So if it's NFT specific, we actually do our best to provide a lot of help for like NFT projects on Optimism. And so we'll like advise, and even we have like a launchpad product. So if you, this is less meant for this hackathon, but like if you needed engineering help, like we have no code tools for deploying NFTs. And then for broader projects in Optimism, most of the resources you'll find in the Discord. And yeah, Ori actually, who's here, is from the Optimism team. So he just dropped a form in the chat. But yeah, I found in the Discord, you can usually get in touch with the team pretty easily. They try to be pretty accessible. And so,
yeah.
And they have like a different, like a community called the Nerds that you can join, and then like there will be people who help you out. Great. And then I see another question from Lyle. Are there any cross-chain NFT bridges that support Optimism? Not yet, but we are working on that. So soon we hope to provide the ability for you to seamlessly bridge an L1 NFT to Optimism and trade it, because then you have like the L1 asset that you can trade for $1 instead of like $60. And then, you can of course bridge it back to L1 at any point. So we expect that bridge to come out, ideally in the next like coming weeks. Great. So we have a couple more minutes left. How do I follow the progress before it comes out? That's a good question. You can join the Quixotic Discord. So we're actually working on building this bridge. And it's very similar to the ERC20 standard bridge. So if you're interested in the technical side of how bridges work, it's modeled after the ERC20 bridge, which you can read about on the Optimism docs. And then we'll be making an announcement about the ERC 721 bridge in like the next like 3 weeks. Great. Well, I'll be very active in the Discord. So I'm completely new to Quixotic. What's the best way to learn and deploy simple contract web internet? So the best way to learn, I'd say, is if you're familiar with Solidity, then all you really need to do, yes, great, is like look at the Open Zeppelin contracts for ERC 721 and see how Open Zeppelin implements the 721. And then what I'll do after this is I'll share out a repo where you can read about how I implemented the Potioneers, and then you can, mess with that, make your own potion recipe, or make your own collection that's like not even potion related. And it'll be any docs you read about L1 NFTs, it all applies to Optimism. So you actually don't need to learn anything specific about Optimism. So it'll be the same Solidity, same tooling. Great. Okay, I think we're wrapping up, but yeah, I'll be in the Discord if you have any questions about NFTs, games, why Optimism, or about our marketplace. I will be there. I'll give it back to Anna if you have anything.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. That was super interesting, Mark. And thank you for taking the time to interact with our hackers. I think you got one more question if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, sure. How do I see the EVM chains after ETH2? Yeah, predicting the future is hard. I only know how to write smart contracts in Solidity. So I do think the EVM is here to stay. So I think focusing on Solidity and EVM smart contracts is what I'm betting my career on, I guess. And I know Optimism and most layer 2s are also focused on the EVM. And I also think Optimism is only going to get cheaper. So it'll probably be 100 times cheaper than L1. Today it's 100 times cheaper than L1. It's actually probably going to get even cheaper. They're doing updates every week. You can track the fees at something called l2fees.com. L2fees.info. So here's where you find the fees. You can also read about the different L2s at l2beat.com. And that shows you the total value in every L2. Okay, great. I think we're at time, so I'll give it back to Anna.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, as Mark said, he's available on Discord, both on the Optimism Discord, but you can also reach him through the ETHGlobal Discord and the sponsor channel. And yeah, we do have some more workshops left for the day, so if you're interested, definitely check them out. And with that being said, I hope you all have a great time hacking and can't wait to see some really cool projects being built. All right, bye everyone.